Welcome to Brand Builders TV. Deep dive topics, tools and resources brought to you by global thought leaders from within the Brand Builders Club. This show gives you access to the strategies that you can use to move forward with ease and flow in every area of your life and business. In today's show, Licia is going to take us through part 1 of her 6-part leadership series. Over the course of this 6-part series, Licia is going to dive into what challenges other leaders are experiencing that you can learn from. Plus, she will be sharing 5 guidelines that will help you to transform your pains into your prizes. Today, she is starting by going deep into the challenges that leaders often experience, giving you one key strategy you can take away to implement instantly. Learn it, model it, and get shit done. Let's go.
Hi, I'm Licia Berry, and I am so excited to be here with you all on BBTV. I am known as the guide to the frontier inside, and have known Sammy for a while. I'm so excited for this wonderful new effort. And in today's show, I'm going to be introducing you to an orientation towards success and fulfillment that will transform any challenge that you have faced, no matter what it may be, are currently facing, or ever will face, into rocket fuel for your success. This is an orientation of pain being able to be turned into our prize. Accepting, claiming, and even embracing our pain changes it from suffering to blessings and lessons, or blessings, as we like to say. So we all know 2020 has been a year, hasn't it? It has dragged out every little fear, belief, attachment, or aversion out of those dark little corners of our minds and into harsh, bright light. We all know that from being on social media, don't we? And have you noticed how many business owners are actually thriving? While many business owners are suffering with the events of this challenging year, some of them are transforming the challenges into treasure and even enjoyment. Why is that? Why is that? Why is that possible? How is that possible? Think about it. Every great invention, solving a problem or responding to some kind of suffering. This is often true in business too. The ability to respond to challenges is a resilience and an orientation not to allow suffering to freeze, disorganize, or depower us, but instead to organize, inspire, and push us. Pain can be our greatest medicine. And in the realm of entrepreneurship, this is the most true. Our personal experience shapes and drives the business that we create and how we show up as the leader of our business. How we respond to our challenges very much informs the success or failure of our entrepreneurship. What's on the inside will come out, as every leader knows. Being an entrepreneur is an initiation, as I say, or a series of initiations. We are being tested every single day. Are we worthy? Do we show up? Do they like us? Do they like us enough to pay us? Etc. Daily tests. And being an entrepreneur tests almost every link of every chain in our being. It rattles the cage, as they say. We can be chugging along, but a challenge shows up, and we are only as strong as our weakest link. And in an environment or society where exposing that we have pain is interpreted as complaining, or expressing sorrow is considered a weakness, we may be reluctant to proudly proclaim our pain as the source of our prowess, the very fuel that feeds the fire of our desire to get out of bed every single morning and change the world. And yet, this is the way through to victory, the very way. Let's talk about this trigger word of being a victim. I'm curious, if you all even were able to read the title of this show today and not get triggered by that word. It's become a real trigger word in our society. Well, let's just look at it. Let's just look at it full face on. When something happens to us that we have no power over, that means we are a victim in that situation. In the moment of that hard thing happening in which we are powerless, we are victimized by that situation. Let me go to Webster's dictionary to share the definition of victim with you, because it's important to understand what this word actually means. The definition of victim is a person harmed, injured, or killed as a result of a crime, accident, or other event or action. One that is acted on and usually adversely affected by a force or agent, subjected to oppression, hardship, or mistreatment. Woo, heavy stuff, right? Very, very heavy stuff. And yet, look at what has come to light this year of 2020 as a result of the stress and the compression of the challenges this year. Exactly this state of being a victim. We're seeing it everywhere. An inflamed emotion, an inflamed opinion, and people's stuff is stirred up, these feelings of being victimized. Being truly a victim, by definition, is a temporary state, though, in which one is powerless. The powerlessness is a requirement of the definition of being a victim. We can look at several times in the course of history that groups and individual people have been victimized by those with force, such as weapons or power. And certainly in our modern world, right now, today, we can see that there are victims of sexism and racism, violence, homophobia, domestic and child abuse, sex trafficking, accidents, illness, family tragedies. There's no shortage of challenging events that can happen in one's life that have the potential to derail us and that we have perhaps no power to control. But it seems that suffering is a condition of being alive, isn't it? Like if you're alive, if you're above the ground, living means that there's pain sometimes. There's joy, lots of joy, hopefully, but there's also pain. It's a condition of being alive. And physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual health can be deeply touched and impacted by those hard things in life. So, how about you? How do you feel about that word victim? Do you get that trigger that I get when I feel into the, or see the word somewhere? I'm like, ooh, I'm not a victim. I don't want to look at that word. I don't want to feel that. But if you look at the definition of the word victim, can you kind of see that there's a difference between the way maybe people have created the word to mean in our culture and what that word actually means, which is that in the moment of something hard happening to us, that we were powerless. Does that help you with the word victim? I just want to check and see if anybody's got any comments about it. Let's see here. Hey, Lubna, nice to see you too. Okay, well, I'm going to continue. I don't see any questions about the word, so that's good. All right, so how do we turn that word victim into victory or victorious or being a victor in which we do have power? We may not have had power in the moment of a traumatic or difficult circumstance, or receiving the onslaught of an unkind stranger, or having some difficult tragedy or trauma occur to us. But once we have lived through and are clear of that situation, we have the power to choose how to transform that pain into something useful and productive for all creation. That is the power, and then we are no longer victims. I'm curious how many of you are gardeners. I have had an organic garden for wherever we've lived since the 1990s. And I know something about organic gardening, and that is to make compost. You guys know what compost is? Compost is the the stuff that makes the most beautiful, strong, resilient, and productive plants from those grody leavings of your kitchen and your yard, like the grass clippings, the coffee grounds, the bits of the ends of veggies and fruit that you cut off, and you would normally throw all that stuff away, right? Eggshells. It's the yuck. It's the stuff that we're like, ugh, we think it's valueless. But if we save it and we turn it and we add some air, some water, some fire, we turn it, it becomes the black gold that creates the most huge success in our garden. It's why I called my 2012 book Soul Compost. Nature shows us all the time how to live right. And I myself have experienced my share of darkness and pain. I was a victim at one time of child and sexual abuse, gun violence, attempted murder, and sexual assault, all by the age of 18 years of age. My preparation for adult life lacked a lot. And when I came out into this world, I was unprepared for living in an empowered way. Not my fault, right? I was powerless as a child and young person. There was nothing I could do about what happened to me in those moments. So by definition, I was a victim. But there came a time in my early 20s when I realized that I was miserable and in a lot of pain, and that I didn't want to live my life that way anymore. I was newly married to my beloved Pete, starting my career that I absolutely loved in education, and I had everything to look forward to. But I was haunted and depressed by my history. No matter how I tried to move forward and run from my past, I couldn't escape it. It was heavy, it was dark, and it hurt. So one day something really important happened. I was conversing with an education colleague, and I shared my state of mind with her and exposed my pain, exposed my belly, exposed my throat, exposed my pain. Ooh, does that make you shiver? You know, does it give you the heebie-jeebies to think about exposing your pain? Exposing pain is a great risk in any circle of the world, but it's the answer. It's dealing with what's real. It's saying, this pain is not me. This thing that happened to me is not me. I carry it. I carry the effects of it, but the pain is not me. And I can show you this pain. It's okay, because exposing the pain opens the door. Opening the door, the day that I exposed my pain to my friend, my colleague, was very painful, but it moved me from that contained, painful inner world of pain to all the possibilities of a bright and joyful future. It literally opened the door from this like dark, scary, small, tight, compressed space into everything was possible. At that point, my colleague recommended a book called The Courage to Heal, 800 pages, which I read voraciously as if my life depended on it. And I entered cognitive therapy for 2 full years, and it was the beginning of my healing journey. And here I am 30 years later, living the life of my dreams, really living the life of my dreams with a 6-figure business, a loving marriage, still with the same man, 2 fabulous, grown, fully actualized, even if I don't always agree, children, and a community of people who want to learn from me. I am so blessed. I'm so fulfilled, and I feel grateful, deeply grateful. Now, I've been asked, do you have pain come up? Do you still have stuff come up? And I'm like, yes, of course I do. I'm a human being. The historical stuff doesn't come up so much anymore, but I mean, life, again, there's pain in life, and so there's suffering, and yes, absolutely, I have pain come up, but I have a choice. I have a choice now. I have a voice now, and so do you. I am not a victim any longer. I have power and I have tools to take care of myself. And I'm going to be sharing 5 strategies with you over these next 5 weeks to make compost out of the challenges and the traumas of your life and move you and those parts of you from victim to victorious, from victim to victorious. So this is an important thing to remember, that when we are looking at pain, that we're not looking at the sum total of ourselves. And Lubna, thank you so much. I appreciate your comments. When we're dealing with the pain, we're actually dealing with something much smaller. And this is an important thing to remember. Much smaller than our sum total of our life, the sum total of our spirit, the sum total of our heart, and the sum total of all the potential that we have to create and to do and make something new and beautiful from whatever may happen to us. That the pain is small in comparison, but you know how pain does, right? It feels big. It feels like it's our sum total. And that's because of our mind. Our mind is an amazing amplifier of what we have going on inside. And it's interesting too that if you've had early difficulty in your life, that those pre-recorded, pre-installed software programs in our subconscious, you know, that we learn as children, the beliefs that are told to us and things that happen to us, and the thoughts that we create in a pattern about whatever may have happened to us, that they really can feel like they are the truth. They can feel that way. I totally know this. I have experienced this myself many times, where I thought something that was absolutely not true. I thought someone didn't like me, or I thought someone was thinking horrible thoughts about me, or I thought something was not going to happen that could, that my business wasn't valuable, that my experience wasn't valuable, that that nobody wanted what I offer, none of which was true. But in my head, I was believing that because of this early programming, which was created by that early trauma, that early pain. And as a result of that, we can then move through our whole lives. If we don't challenge these voices, if we don't challenge these parts of ourselves that are informed by pain, these filters that are informed by pain, then we can literally walk through our whole life recreating the same story over and over and over again. And instead of confronting those voices in our head, confronting that pain, confronting that that suffering, and saying, okay, all right, you're here, you're in me, okay, you're here. Well, I'm gonna totally own you. I'm gonna own you, and I'm gonna find out about you, and I am going to make friends with you. Yes, I just said make friends with your pain, because it is the greatest teacher. You know, there are a lot of people out there in the world that seek teachers. We all hopefully do, because we all hopefully love to learn and we need each other. But do you know the greatest growth in your life that happens is from facing your pain? No book, no movie, no teacher, no nothing will cause you to grow at the depth and the rate and the profound wisdom that's created by letting your pain be your teacher. That creates actual wisdom. And so I'm curious, how do you feel about pain? Do you run from it? Like we're certainly taught to do, and nobody likes pain, right? It's like, ow, I don't like that. I want to make it stop. Well, of course we do. That's the correct thing, is to make it stop. But we can't make something stop unless we face it. We can't make a broken bone healed unless we go, oh yeah, I've got a broken bone. I guess I better go to the hospital and get that reset. If we have a broken mind or a broken heart or a broken spirit because of something hard that happened to us, and that we're in this loop around and around of our pain, then we really are doomed to repeat. We must face it. We must heal those broken parts of ourselves. But remember, they're just parts. They're not the sum total of your giant, immense spirit, your beautiful, humongous, fiery soul. These are just small compared to what you are, the potential and the truth of who you are. So don't forget that facing pain, even making friends with pain, can actually be the answer that you've been looking for. If things are not exactly how you wish in your life, that embracing and claiming fiercely, turning that crap into compost is the answer to moving ahead, moving forward. So I've got some little experiential stuff for you. I've got a few questions I'd like to suggest that you answer. Let me pull those up. All right, and these are questions that are designed to help you take stock, kind of just to see where you are. We can't know where we're going until we figure out where we are. We can't figure out how to get to where we want to go until we figure out where we are, just like on a map. You have to know that you're in New York City to get to Los Angeles before you can get your directions to Los Angeles, right? For those of you in the US. For those of you in the UK, you have to know that you're in London before you put your Edinburgh into the GPS. You have to know where you are before you can get to the next place. So, or wherever you may be. And I'm so grateful to have, international viewers today. We're going to take stock. This is our experiential activity for today. So I'm going to be sharing these 5 strategies with you to turn pain into your prize. But before we do that, we have to create the fertile ground. We have to compost the soil before we start planting the seeds. And so we're going to create the fertile ground by taking stock of your life. I'm going to ask you 3 questions, and I'm going to suggest that you actually spend some time answering these 3 questions, not just here on the live, on the show, but you write these down and journal with them. Spend time with them. These cannot be rushed. All right? So here's question number 1. What's the lead asking to be turned to gold in your life? What is the lead asking to be turned into gold in your life? Let me explain. We all know that 2020 is the year of all years, right? It's the year to end all years, to take stock and really make your life count for you. If this year has been and is, because it's not over yet, a crucial time in your soul's journey, what have you discovered in the crucible that this year created? Do you know what a crucible is? A crucible is the fireproof, indestructible container that is used in alchemy. Alchemy is a medieval process that in which scientists and philosophers and spiritualists endeavored to turn baser metals into gold, like lead into gold, in a chemistry lab, and firing it up, and sort of like compost. You add all these different things and you transform it into something fantastic. The crucible is that container that this year has created for us. We have all been in a crucible, and we still are. We're in the crucible now. And 2020 is like the alchemist applying the fire, right? So what lead in your life do you have the potential to turn into gold in this alchemical crucible of 2020? And maybe you already have, like many of us are thriving this year. But there's always something, right? There's always something that could be a little better. There's always something that we could turn into even more in our life. So that's the question. What lead do you have the potential to turn into gold? All right. Question number 2 has to do with your mind. What in your life is wasting your time? Facebook. Games on my phone. No, really. What in life is wasting your time? And I'm talking about this from the context of what are you thinking about? How are you thinking about yourself and your life? What in your life is wasting your time? How are you thinking about yourself and your life? You know, our mind is our most constant source of input. It filters everything. All the stuff that's happening out here is being poured in the filter, through this filter. And the filter is in our mind. It is made of the beliefs and those other internal structures that we've built as a result of our experience thus far. That's just what we do. That's what humans do. The trouble is that our filters can be tremendously limiting factors and need to be cleaned regularly, like the coffee filter every morning. Can you imagine drinking coffee with a week's worth of grounds or a month's worth or a year's worth of grounds in the filter? Yuck! That is not the premium coffee that we'd rather drink. So we got to check out what kind of filters we've got going on. And this is where I recommend you grab my paper. I've got the link below to get my Clearing the 4 Obstacles paper, so that your old beliefs, fears, attachments, and aversions are not preventing you from living your most wondrous life. So that's question number 2. What in your life is wasting your time in the way you're thinking about yourself and your life? And then the third question. This is the fun one. Actually, I think they're all fun, but question number 3 is, what do you want more of in your life? What do you want more of? Dream big. If you could have anything you wanted, what would you ask for? Go ahead, dream it up. These 3 questions are really important. They may seem obvious, but if you really sit with them, give yourself some time, this is my suggestion, that you journal about them and really reflect deeply on the answers. If you go into a state of willingness, like profound willingness, you really can deeply receive the answers to these questions, and you will be profoundly rewarded in turn. Journaling on these 3 prompts, again, will prepare that fertile soil for the strategies that I'll be sharing with you these next 5 weeks. And you're going to unlock the parts of you that may be stuck in the victim state where they feel powerless. Those parts hold the key to turning your pain into your prize and making medicine out of your suffering that can heal your life, your family, your community, and the world, and open the floodgates of success for your business. So don't forget to grab my paper, The 4 Obstacles, at the link here in the post. Join me next Tuesday at the same time to learn my strategies for building wisdom, strength, resilience, and joy from life's challenges. And thank you so much for being here and for listening. And I would love to hear from you, what your takeaways are from this episode of BBTV. Big thanks to Sammy for creating this incredible platform and for her tireless energy to continue to create opportunities for us to show our brilliance, to shine our light, and to connect with one another. Okay, let's see. Lubna, I think you're still here. Thank you for being here. Very interesting perspective. Yep, I would have to agree. So don't forget to grab the link to get the 4 Obstacles paper from me, and feel free to reach out or tag me if you have questions or would like a personal session. Reach out and I will be so thrilled to connect with you. Much love, big, big love from my heart to yours in this incredible year. Take care. See you next week.
I hope that you've enjoyed the show today as much as we've enjoyed making it for you. If you've got anything out of this episode, please do tell someone else how they can subscribe to the Brand Builders TV channel at youtube.com/brandbuilderstv. Why not join us at our next Brand Builders Thinkubator, a global mastermind that we run every week to take away the loneliness of being in business on your own. For more information and to book your place, visit light.brandbuilders.club/Thinkubator. That's light.brandbuilders.club/Thinkubator. Until next time, be the ripple that you wish to see in the world, and we'll see you soon.